What is up, Eric? Good to see you, man. Good to talk to you again. How we doing?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on again.
Absolutely. So for those who don't know, Eric is the man, the myth, and the legend behind Project 95 or Die, and now Project 100 or Die, which, as a side note, why did we pick 100 and not like 97?
Because we're fucking idiots. Right? That's why. But yeah, fuck. I mean, again, our goal is to push the limits, right? I mean, I've hit 97 before, and although hitting 97, you and I both know it's gonna be an incredibly hard thing for us. You know, a lot of jabronis send me like messages like, "Oh, you're gonna hit 100 in like 3 months." I'm like, "No, motherfucker." Like, I'm actually looking at this. Like, we talked about this before too. Like, we don't even know if I'm gonna be able to do this. You know, like, so this is like, it's not hard, right? And we don't know how long it's gonna take. It might take a year, 5 years, who knows, right? But the point is just to push the boundaries and see how far we can take this. And so instead of going for 97, which I've done before in my prime, and let's go with 100. It's something I've never done before.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm fully on board. So today we're going to talk about just the specifics of your deload. So we just put you onto a deload. I know I got a bunch of questions actually last night. I didn't ask me anything, and people were asking what a deload is. So we both thought it'd be a great idea to sit here and talk what a deload is. So first, the definition of a deload is just when you're busting your butt in training, eventually fatigue takes over. So I'm sure we've all had those situations where you feel like you just don't have it that day, or you've been busting your butt for a few weeks and then you go into train and all your numbers are down, maybe your velo's down, maybe you can't lift the weight that you should be able to lift. And if that gets taken to too severe of a level where you drop too much performance, then really there's no point in trying to push the limits on that day because the stimulus that you're going to get isn't going to be strong enough to make a good adaptation in you. And then at the same time, you put yourself at a larger risk for injury. So if you really look at it, it's like, what are we doing? The risk for injury goes through the roof and the benefit is like through the floor. So like, that's enter a deload. So deload is basically you either drop intensity or you drop volume or you drop both with the goal of the athlete recovering. So you had a post on that a deload is not a time to do nothing. A deload is a time to double down in your recovery. And I freaking love that. That's such a great way to put it. Makes so much sense. And it's 100% right. So I would love to hear from your perspective because we decided, you and I together, we had a conversation. We decided, okay, now's a good time to deload. And I would love to hear from your perspective because you brought the conversation up. What made you start to say, hey, you know, maybe we should take a step back here for future gain?
I think that's the thing, like with me, because I've been training for so long and I've been doing this Project 95 even for, you know, about a good 5 months now. So like, I kind of know where my body's at and to the extent the level that I'm pushing my body, right? And it doesn't feel good, but now that's why we have the deload day and we have the recovery days and the hybrid B days and another recovery day to kind of build it up towards my deload day, which is the day I need to send it as fucking hard as I can. Now, when I get to the point when I get to the below date, I don't feel like I can do that. That's when I know I need a deload, right? So I got to play a little bit of catch up now because, you know, again, I put a lot of force, you know, into a lot of stress on my body when I'm doing this. And sometimes, you know, it takes a little bit longer than 4 days to recover, you know, and I think it kind of builds up too. And last couple sessions, I definitely pushed it harder. The time I threw 95 and the time I threw 94 before, because when I hit the 94 the time before I hit 95, I try to really push it, try to get to the 95, right? And so I was throwing, like, I do a motor sleeve, you know that, and usually my motor sleeve number, which we can have a totally different conversation about that at some other time, but my number will be like, my regular velo day number will be like 65 to 70 total throws. On those days, I was doing like 100, you know, because I'm trying to fucking get it, you know, and sometimes I know I don't, because when you're so close, right, you fucking just basically just go until you basically can't anymore, you know, and so I definitely pushed it harder, and then I ended up getting the 95, which was awesome, you know, but I definitely pushed my body more towards the stress, right? So, and when I threw the last time, which was a couple days ago, I really felt it. You know, I was like, dude, like I'm fucking beat up, which is why I had contacted you about doing another, like, a deload, which we haven't done in a long time actually. And I was actually surprised with all the recovering I was able to do between the deload days. But also, you know, you and I both know, like, I take the recovery part very, very serious. I don't just fuck around. I just literally do whatever I can to recover, you know? And so that's something, again, a lot of kids don't understand is the work it takes to get your body ready to send it, you know? And a lot of them, like, they just see me sending it, you know, on velo days, are like, oh, that's cool, but you're not really seeing the whole process, which is why I fucking share all the videos I do share, is to show you everything that I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made some great points in there. Well, the day you hit 94, where you had the same intensity really as normal, intensity just being like velocity, how much stress was on your body, you know, but you had a higher volume, so you did it more. So that's like, okay, that's a new stimulus that your body hasn't quite been there in terms of volume yet. So it's going to be a stronger stimulus for you to recover from. So you'll have a little bit more fatigue. Then the exact next session, you PR at 95, which is a stimulus your body has never had. Well, it has had when you were playing, but it hasn't had in so long. So basically you're back-to-backing stimuli that your body hasn't had to recover from yet. So it makes total sense why then the next session after that, even though we timed everything out perfectly, you're really focusing on your recovery. It makes total sense that back-to-back sessions plus the last 5 months of training. It's been a few months since we deloaded. It hasn't been quite 5 months, but
no, so we did a deload like after like maybe like 30 days, the first one.
Yeah.
And then we haven't done a deload like for a long time, really. Like I don't think we have done a deload over like 3 months maybe. So it's been a long time because we felt like we didn't need it, and we also went from a 4-day split to a 5-day split. And now that gave me more time to recover, you know. And so I felt like I was ready. And as you made the point before, if there's no need to fucking take the break, don't take the break. You know, you don't need a deload just because it's set in your program. If your body doesn't need it, then you don't fucking do it because you're losing on the games.
Exactly. Yeah. It made total sense to me when you were like, hey man, I'm feeling beat up, let's deload. I was like, yeah, I'm surprised we made it this long, you know, which is just a testament to how well you recover. I mean, it's a testament to how well you've been sleeping, how well you've been taking care of your body, how well you've been preparing, how well you've been cooling down, how well you've been fueling your body with nutrition. It's just like the whole thing, just a testament. Program design as well, which we've been honing in together. It's just a testament to the whole process has been great, which is what you want to do in training, you know? Just for some background info for guys, deloads generally come every 4 to 6 weeks or so if you time it out. That's if you're really busting your butt. Probably 4 to 6 weeks is a time generally where it's programmed in. Now there's 2 ways to program deloads. You could either program it just in the session, like you could just write it in the program. So for example, you could just go, okay, I'm going to bust my butt for 3 weeks, and then I'm going to deload week 4. That's a way to do it. Another way to do it is to wait for when the athlete starts to decrease in performance, which is what we're doing with Eric. That's what I really like to do. When I write my deloads, we can wait till the athlete starts to decrease in performance and then add in a deload. Now, to do that, you have to be monitoring the athlete. You have to be monitoring the athlete, meaning like their outputs on those high intensity days, you know? Because if you just go off feel, there's going to be some days, obviously, where you feel like absolute crap, but your numbers look good. And you're like, you know, who knows why I feel like crap. Let's see if it continues and whatever. But, and then you also have to be dealing with an athlete who kind of knows what they're doing. So I had actually tried with one athlete that I'm training that I didn't realize his genetics are really, really good. And we were really pushing the limit. I didn't realize that he had never deloaded before. So he walked into the gym one day and he's like, I don't know what's going on. I feel like I don't want to be here. And we started talking and I was like, you've never deloaded before. This makes so much sense. Yeah, man, you're fine. You're totally fine. You're good. You know? So Eric, we last deload, I kind of just want you to talk about the difference between the last deload and this deload and what changes we're making going into this one, because if people watch these enough, they're going to realize that this whole training process is constantly trying to make things better and trying to adapt better to the athlete. So what did we learn from your last deload and what are we going to do going into this one? Love to hear it in your words.
Yeah. So the last deload, again, we haven't done it in a long time, but the thing I learned was, so last time I deloaded, which was 9 days as well. But on the 10th day, I sent it right away. And when I did that, I kind of like overdid it because when you're doing the deload, obviously you're taking a step back in your training, right? So you're just not gonna be physically there yet, although you're giving your body a break. So your body feels better, but you know, your numbers aren't, you know, technically. So like when I did a deload the last time, before deload, I was hitting like 91 or something, 92. And then after the deload, I was like 90, 89, 90. So I was like, oh, I was really mad. So I kept pushing it, and I fucking ended up going on the motor sleeve. I ended up throwing over 100 again, and then I was beat up again. I was like, what the fuck? Like, there's no point of doing a deload if I'm just gonna beat myself up after. So I think this one you and I both talked about maybe after doing the 9 days of deloading, on the 10th day, instead of like fully sending it, we're gonna do like, we're still sending it, but like 90%, so that I'm not like going too crazy. I'm also gonna monitor the amount of throws I'll be making that day, so that I'm not overdoing it. Because there's no point of me recovering all the way, doing all this work, and then on this fucking on the velo day, and which I'm not gonna have all the strength and power that I've lost on the 9 days, and there's no point of just overdoing it. So that's the biggest thing I'd like to try. I'm not sure if it's gonna work, but that's what it is about programming, right? You try different things and you see what works. And if this works, and this is exactly what I'm gonna do next time when I need to deload. So yeah, that's I think that's a big one. And also, just like I said, like a lot of people, a lot of kids are just like, oh, after deload, you're gonna come back throwing 100. I'm like, well, no, that's not the case. So when I'm doing the deload, I'm actually, like I just said, we're taking a step back a little bit, giving my body a little bit of break. So if I've been like lifting hard, I've been throwing hard, like I've been throwing every single day until now. And if I'm not doing all of that as to the extent I've been doing, I'm not gonna be able to perform as well as I've been doing before. But that's the whole point of giving myself a break, so that my body recovers. I have a little aches and pains that I have, right? I got like blisters and fucking, my hamstrings are a little fucked up, all these little things. Hopefully I can recover all those up for the next velo day, and then build up on that instead of like trying to let it eat. And if I hit like, I don't know, 92 next time, I'm gonna be pissed because I was throwing 94, 95, but that's the step I'm willing to take to get myself healthier so that I can go farther, almost like I'm getting a running start right now, like I'm going back, but I'm getting the running start. And when I go, hopefully I can make that jump a little bit higher. That's the whole point of doing this.
Yeah, it makes so much sense. And I really liked, you brought up the idea of, hey, can I take a week and go at 90% and build into it, which is a really good idea. I mean, if you think about, it's really just an on-ramp. You just took a break, and then you're on-ramping back into throwing, and or back into throwing max intensity. And the on-ramp is super short, but it should be super short because you're still in condition to throw at high intensity. So there's no reason to make this huge on-ramp, because that's just wasting time. But there is a really good point of you don't lose what you built from a physiological perspective. So you're not going to lose the tendon adaptations. You're not going to lose the muscle adaptations. I mean, in reality, we're not taking a break. We are, because we're coming back down, but you're still throwing every day. So, but what does happen is you'll lose a little bit of the super fine motor skills in like the timing at max intensity. So that's what does happen. So you'll go back in, your body will be like, whoa, we haven't done this in a while, even though you're prepared to do it, and then it'll perform a little bit less. So that's, I don't want people to be afraid of deloading because they may lose. Like, of course you'll lose, but you'll just gain it back immediately because it's just neurological adaptations. And
thanks for all you're doing, man. Like, for real, like, you obviously, I don't know if you guys know, like me, like me and Dean basically talk very often, and to talk about their scheduling or where I'm at. And, you spend a lot of time on this, and I appreciate that. And again, we'll keep at it, and it's just kind of fun process. And, whatever we do, we'll kind of do it together, and fucking, hopefully, who knows, man, 100 who knows? If it does happen, that's pretty cool, man. So.
Well, we're going to try. We're going to try it. Yeah, I got a bunch of questions up. You don't think he'll hit 100? And I was like, that's 100. Do you realize, it's like I was sitting with Trevor at the time, and Trevor was like, oh, it's fine. Like, Usain Bolt will just run a 9-1. That's fine. Like, let's just, it's like, but that's just not how it works. But that's all right. Maybe it is. We're obviously, I think a lot of young kids don't quite understand the difference between like not thinking something can actually happen, but still like, well, if it could happen, how would we do it? Let's try our butts off. So it's not that we're not going to try. We're going to put everything we got into this. But
I just don't think people know what 100 actually is. That's why very selected few, even the fucking big leagues, throw 100. There are a lot of people that throw gas now, but not that many people throw 100 miles an hour. Of all the pitchers in the big leagues right now, how many throw 100? Like, not that many. Although it's a lot more than before. It's still not that many.
So, and people may be. some younger kids may be like, oh, well, yeah, there's like 50 people that throw 100. There's so many people that throw 100.
Yeah.
It's like, you realize how many people there are in the world that play baseball? Is like, what? There's like nobody.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, man, I'm pumped to watch. I'm pumped to be a part of it. I get to be a fan and involved at the same time, which is great for me. So yeah, once again, if you guys want to follow Eric Sims, see it was already done, 95 or die, so on to 100 or die. If you want to follow the deload, his process to try to hit 100, go ahead and check him out on social media. And appreciate you making the time, man. Good to talk to you again.
Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.